There are moments when fate does not knock, it tears the heavens open and descends without warning. What had slumbered for 10,000 years was stirring once more, and the price of awakening would not be paid in blood alone, but in souls. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. Confronted by the two impatient cultivators, Master Sable let out a dry cough, the sound brittle in the tense air. His eyes flickered as he weighed his words, searching for something that might placate them without fanning the flames of their restlessness. Before he could speak, however, a voice cold as steel drawn from ice rang out from afar. "What? Do you intend to force your way through, even with both the Heavenly Devil Sect and the High Zenith Sect barring your path?" Old Man Luo's expression shifted dramatically. A streak of black light tore across the distant horizon and descended before them like a falling star swallowed by night. The radiance faded, revealing a middle-aged man clad in black scholar's robes, his hooked nose casting a sharp silhouette against the dim sky. The moment he appeared, the atmosphere around Old Man Luo darkened as though a storm cloud had passed over him. "Taoist Seven Wonders," he gasped, his voice tight and cold. It was not that Seven Wonders surpassed Master Sable in cultivation. Rather, his name alone carried a weight of blood and cruelty. As the Heavenly Devil Sect's enforcement elder, he was infamous for merciless punishments and ruthless methods. Old Man Luo, merely a mid-nascent soul cultivator, had no desire whatsoever to provoke such a figure. "Fellow Taoist Seven Wonders must be jesting," the old eccentric said with a forced chuckle. "If your esteemed sects treat this matter with such gravity, then the passage must indeed conceal great peril. Waiting a few more days is of no consequence." With that, he quietly withdrew into the crowd. The cultivator, wreathed in green mist, also retreated without a word. The sight of the foremost sects of both the righteous and devilish Tao standing side by side sent ripples of unease through the gathered crowd. By now, even a fool could discern that whatever lay sealed within was of extraordinary importance. Why else would the two most powerful sects in the Great Jin dispatch such formidable forces? Yet beneath the crushing pressure of these towering factions, the wandering cultivators and members of minor sects dared not voice their suspicions. Even representatives of larger sects chose silence over risk. 8 cultivators from the Heavenly Devil Sect soon arrived, each at the nascent soul stage. Without a word, they produced formation plates and spell flags. In the span of a breath, an immense restriction was erected. Dense white mist surged forth, swallowing the entrance to the seal. Within moments, the cultivators of both High Zenith and Heavenly Devil Sect vanished into the formation, as if erased from existence. Outside, those who had hoped to observe the proceedings exchanged helpless glances. Within the restriction, Master Sable exhaled softly and offered Taoist Seven Wonders a faint smile. "Fortunately, you arrived swiftly. I fear I could not have held them off much longer. Your reputation alone is enough to chill their courage." The middle-aged scholar returned a thin, insincere smile. "Would you prefer I shout my name for those outside to hear?" Master Sable gave a dry laugh. "Perish the thought." Seven Wonders' expression hardened. "Let us return to the matter at hand. These orders are not ours to disregard. I heard on my way here that the Yin Sifting Sect has already entered. Did you allow it because Old Devil Chien was among them?" When I arrived, Master Sable replied Old Devil Chien and several wandering cultivators had already gone in. Later members of the Yin Sifting Sect and a few from the Endless Sky Temple followed, accompanied by one of their grand immortals. At the time, I was unaware of the true gravity of the seal and lacked the resolve to bar their path. Seven Wonders let out a cold snort. I did not expect the Ye clan to use their replica Divine Spirit treasure as a mere diversion, only to seize the opportunity to hunt for true Divine Spirit treasures here. Had it not been for the spies we planted long ago, we would have remained completely ignorant. Master Sable sighed. The Ye clan guarded their plans closely. Though our informants learned fragments of the truth, they found no chance to send word. They managed only to sabotage several spell formations before fleeing. Had we known earlier, we would never have granted them this opportunity. Of what value is a divine spirit treasure if the incarnation of the ancient devil ancestor is released? If that comes to pass, there may be no remedy. Given how long old devil Qian has been inside, he has likely already located the site of the seal. He is no fool, Seven Wonders replied coolly. He will not act against his own interests. The Endless Sky Temple, however, is another matter. They are not natives of the Great Jin. Master Sable arched a brow. I was under the impression your sect maintained ties with them. Yes, Seven Wonders said indifferently. We conduct transactions, nothing more. A seal laid down by the ancients is not so easily broken. So long as they have not unraveled the elder devil's restrictions, we can still curb their reckless ambitions. And even if the incarnation escapes, centuries of imprisonment will have weakened it. With the 5 devil suppression bands I carry, we should be able to subdue it. The devil suppression bands. Master Sable's eyes brightened. The ancient artifacts passed down from the spirit realm. Seven Wonders' lips curved into a cold smile. Indeed, when the elder devils invaded our world, cultivators from the spirit realm brought forth treasures crafted specifically to restrain high-grade elder devils. With these 5 bands, even an incarnation of the elder devil's sacred ancestor will be rendered powerless. Master Sable's tension eased. That is reassuring. I had feared this journey would court disaster. I did not expect such treasures to be in your possession. They are not mine, Seven Wonders corrected calmly. They were entrusted to me by the one who issued our orders. Did the High Zenith Sect not provide you with a suitable treasure? Master Sable offered a wry smile. I departed in haste and had no time to prepare. Still I brought the heaven-bound blade. It should prove of some assistance. Seven Wonders nodded. That will suffice. A shadow of confusion crossed Master Sable's face. Yet there is something I fail to comprehend. Why are we forbidden from taking the devil's life unless absolutely necessary? Why reseal it only to risk its escape again in the future? Seven Wonders fell silent for a moment before answering gravely, Who can say? Even the ancient cultivators did not destroy it. There must be reasons beyond our knowledge. We will obey our orders. Master Sable nodded slowly, then glanced toward the mist-shrouded entrance of the seal. As you say, let us not entangle ourselves in matters beyond our station. Did you arrive upon the flying tortoise chariot? We should make haste. Seven Wonders gave a soft chuckle. With a flick of his sleeve, a sphere of light appeared circling them before swelling dramatically. In an instant, it expanded into a 10-meter-long chariot shaped like an enormous tortoise shell, its surface etched with ancient runes. After issuing instructions to the cultivators accompanying them, Master Sable and Seven Wonders stepped aboard. The chariot blurred into motion and shot toward the seal's opening as a streak of black light vanishing within. The Great Pillar Mountain Range was one of the 4 grand spirit veins of the Great Jin, and the seat of the righteous Tao's foremost sect, the High Zenith Sect. Save for the Heavenly Devil Sect and Myriad Demon Valley, no other force on the continent could rival its might. More than 100 spirit mountains lay under its dominion. Among them, Ice Soul Valley appeared insignificant. Spiritual chi was nearly non-existent there. Bone-chilling yin winds prowled ceaselessly through the ravine, sheathing its stone walls in frost throughout the year. And yet, this seemingly barren valley was one of the High Zenith Sect's most closely guarded forbidden grounds. An illusion formation concealed its entrance, subtle yet impenetrable. Beyond that, no visible guard stood watch. In truth, none had dared approach the place for centuries. Even high-ranking elders stopped at its threshold, speaking into the depths of the valley with solemn reverence, never stepping inside. At the very moment Taoist Seven Wonders and Master Sable entered Kunwu Mountain, a sickly grey-robed old man appeared outside Ice Soul Valley. He cast a mocking glance at the illusion formation, coughed lightly, and transformed into a streak of green light that slipped through its defenses. Moments later he stood at the valley's end, gazing coldly at the colossal ice wall before him. His expression darkened. In a low, chilling voice he called out, "Old ghost, bye. I know you are here." There is no need to hide from a visitor within your coffin. His words reverberated thunderously through the valley, echo upon echo, crashing against the frozen cliffs. The ice walls trembled violently, as though on the verge of collapse. Yet the grey-robed old man remained unmoved. Narrowing his eyes, he stood before the towering ice wall utterly unperturbed. A long ancient sigh drifted upon the wind, reverberating through the towering ice walls like the murmur of a slumbering spirit. "Fellow Taoist Hu," a voice echoed from within the frozen depths, calm yet distant, "I do not recall inviting you here. Weren't you cultivating at Devil Cliff Mountain? What business brings you to Ice Soul Valley?" The grey-robed old man snorted displeasure etched across his sickly features. "You think I came by choice? This concerns Kunwu Mountain." A faint pause, then the neutral voice replied, "Kunwu Mountain. Did we not already entrust that affair to our disciples? What remains to discuss? If only it were so simple," the old man muttered darkly. "You may not yet know old Ghost Qian has met with calamity upon the mountain." "Old Ghost Qian." The voice rang out in shock, echoing violently against the frozen cliffs. "Are you certain? Of those of us who remain, he was the strongest." "I am not entirely certain," the grey-robed man admitted coldly. "But old eccentric Feng personally informed me by flying sword transmission. You know well, the bond between them, they exchanged primal soul pearls long ago. Recently, when Kunwu Mountain reappeared in the world, Ghost Qian happened to be nearby. He entered soon after. Not long thereafter, his primal soul pearl dimmed. His gaze darkened. If he is not gravely wounded, then he is trapped within some formidable restriction. Either way, his situation is dire." After a brief silence, he continued, his tone lowering. "As fate would have it, eccentric Feng himself has encountered a grave complication and cannot render aid. Thus he has requested that we investigate in his stead. He offers 2 blood chi pills as compensation." 2. The voice sharpened slightly. "How generous. Such a pill can extend one's lifespan by decades. But tell me, how did eccentric Feng know Ghost Qian entered Kunwu Mountain?" The grey-robed man gave a humorless chuckle. "That old fox has always been meticulous. Whenever he acts, he leaves behind contingencies. Before entering the mountain, Ghost Qian sent word to him via flying sword. It seems his caution has proven wise. Now we must retrieve him." His eyes gleamed faintly. "Well, would fellow Taoist Bai care to take a look? Refining blood chi pills on our own would take considerable time." Silence fell within the valley. The wind whispered along the frozen walls. At length the voice answered, "I will abstain. You may go, but I shall not accompany you." The grey-robed man's brows knit together. "What? Does the blood chi pill truly not tempt you?" "It does," the voice admitted coolly. "But I fear what awaits is not worth the risk." "What risk?" the old man pressed. "Even if that devil has truly escaped confinement, if we join forces, what is there to fear? What is there to fear?" The voice echoed faintly. "No matter how formidable it once was, after centuries of suppression, its strength cannot far exceed our own. It can no longer wield the domineering spatial tempering abilities it once flaunted in the mortal realm." "Then why refuse?" the old man demanded with a frown. A faint sigh issued from within the ice. "Had I not taken the fire essence jujube, perhaps I would have considered it. But now, as I use its power to shatter my bottleneck, I cannot afford interruption, not even the slightest fluctuation." Alarm flashed across the grey-robed man's face. "The spiritual fruit you obtained. You consumed it directly." "Of course. It is the only way to draw forth sufficient fire spiritual power." A dangerous glint flickered through the old man's eyes. "You fool! Do you not know how overbearing that fruit's spiritual power is, if unrefined? It can ignite the very magic power within your body. Have we not witnessed such peril before?" "I am fully aware," the voice replied, tinged with cold mockery. "Yet if I do not risk it, I will perish within these walls of ice all the same. Or perhaps I should follow Ghost Qian and eccentric Feng's example, abandon my great abilities, masquerade among low-grade cultivators, and live in constant fear that exerting too much magic power will cost me my life. Brother Bai's words cut deeply, the old man replied with a sigh. They act so only to search for the reverse spirit streams, once used by spirit realm cultivators, to descend into this world. Without reaching late deity transformation stage, we have no other means to ascend. Those from the higher realms suppress their power to descend if we find those passages. We may temporarily elevate our magic power and use them to return. A bitter laugh echoed through the valley. Since the world changed long ago, countless deity transformation cultivators have scoured the mortal realm for such streams. If they exist, they should have been found. If not, they lie in the boundless ocean beyond reach. Perhaps the grey-robed man conceded helplessly, but pursuing the faintest hope of ascension is better than awaiting death. Better to cultivate to late deity transformation, the voice replied resentfully. If not for the ancient devil realm's corruption draining the world's spiritual vitality, we would not be shackled at this stage. There is no use cursing them, the old man said gloomily. Since the last of the ancients ascended, 10,000 years have passed without a single successor. Not one. It is little wonder Feng and the others gamble on reverse spirit streams. They may gamble as they please, the voice said at last. I shall cultivate in seclusion. Our discussion ends here. Accept Feng's request or go alone. I will not see you off. In the future, I will order my disciples to seal this valley. Until the jujube is fully refined, I will receive no visitors. Inform the others. Silence descended heavy and absolute. The grey-robed old man lingered before the immense ice wall, his expression dark and conflicted. At last he stamped his foot. For 2 blood chi pills, I need only risk myself once. An extra century of life should more than compensate for a sliver of lost origin essence. With that muttered resolve, green light enveloped his body, and he shot from the valley like a departing comet. Before the palace on the 8th floor of the devil-suppressing pagoda, Han Li stood expressionless, his hands forming an incantation seal. A dozen flying swords converged at his command, their resonant hum merging into a single thunderous vibration. In a flash of blinding golden light, they fused into a massive 10-meter-long cleaver and descended toward the palace. A deafening boom shook the air. The blade cleaved through a white jade statue, reducing it to drifting fragments of dust. The remnants quivered faintly, then fell still. Hanley gave a small nod and summoned the sword back to his side. This marked the 4th statue he had utterly destroyed. Though the grand formation surrounding the palace rendered the statues seemingly immortal, repeated destruction eventually prevented their regeneration. Yet such a feat required the simultaneous assault of numerous nascent soul cultivators. Were only a handful to attack, the magic power required would be prohibitive. The golden sabers wielded by the statues intrigued him greatly. Forged from an unknown material, they were extraordinarily sharp and carried potent devil-bane properties. More alarming still were the blades of light they released. Any cultivator practicing devil techniques would not dare approach. The light pierced through devilish chi as though it were mist before sunlight. Those who attempted entry found the statues indifferent to the attackers outside. Instead, they unleashed a unified assault upon any trespasser who crossed the threshold, a sweeping barrage that left no angle, undefended, forcing intruders to retreat. Worse yet, the formation was layered with multiple overlapping restrictions. Even if one destroyed the statues' bodies, rushing in recklessly would be folly. Thus no one dared take such a risk. They methodically destroyed the nearby statues, first intending to dismantle the formation piece by piece. After striking down the statue before him, Han Li suddenly frowned and scanned his surroundings. Only a few puppets remained in motion. Just as that thought crossed his mind, Silvermoon's voice rang out within his sea of consciousness. Sharp-pained and trembling, she let out a cry before dissolving into anguished sobs. Alarm flashed through Han Li's eyes. "What is it? What's wrong?" he demanded, unable to conceal the concern in his voice. It's nothing. Not important," Silvermoon forced out haltingly. "There's something inside the palace. It has awakened. It gives me a strange, important feeling, as if it is familiar. Ah, my head. Her voice broke into a groan of pain, reverberating through his mind like shattered glass. Hanli's heart gave a violent tremor at Silvermoon's words. Without hesitation, he turned his gaze toward the very core of the palace's spell formation. Everything appeared unchanged. The hall stood silent and intact, its exterior no different from moments before. Perplexed, he was just about to question Silvermoon further, when suddenly an overwhelming pressure erupted from within the palace hall. It surged outward like a tidal wave, suffocating and immense. A thunderous explosion followed, rattling the very air. From the roof of the hall, a beam of yellow light shot skyward, and within it a gigantic hand materialized, lunging toward the eight-spirit ruler. Gasps and startled cries broke out among the cultivators. Before anyone could react, a sweet, playful laugh drifted from the palace light, almost coquettish, yet chilling to the bone. Space around the eight-spirit ruler warped violently. Then, from the distortion, a disheveled silhouette emerged, hair hanging wildly over its face. The figure opened its mouth. A streak of light burst forth like lightning. It struck the enormous hand, piercing through it effortlessly. A miserable, ear-splitting shriek followed. The yellow hand collapsed and vanished. Immediately after, a figure wrapped in yellow radiance shot upward, fleeing in frantic retreat. The disheveled figure chuckled. Then its body flickered. In the span of an instant, it stretched across more than 30 meters, pursuing in a blur too swift for mortal sight. The man within the yellow light panicked. He spat out a crimson arrow formed from blood essence itself. It tore through the air at terrifying speed. But the pursuing figure simply blurred once more. The arrow passed through its body as though it were nothing but an illusion. A scream of agony rang out. The yellow-clad cultivator scattered into mist, using some secret art only to recondense dozens of meters away. When he reappeared, his face was as pale as death. Blood soaked his robes. Several deep claw marks raked across his body, and one arm had been torn away, entirely reduced to a gruesome, bloody stump. Seventh uncle. The Ye clan elders cried out in disbelief. The battered figure was none other than the large-headed eccentric. Even the Ye clan's grand elder stared in stunned horror at his sudden wretched appearance. Hanli and the others did not know his identity, but a sweep of spiritual sense confirmed he was a late nascent soul. Cultivator. Their shock was no less profound. As for the disheveled pursuer, though his face remained obscured by tangled hair, his build vaguely resembled Xianxia, the sacred poison sect's grand elder. Yet when he spoke, the voice that emerged was that of a young woman, sweet, lilting, and utterly incongruous. If not for the presence of the eight-spirit ruler and the formidable cultivators gathered, Hanli might have already fled. The surrounding cultivators stared in stunned confusion. To reduce a late nascent soul expert to such a miserable state in mere breaths. Could this be a deity transformation cultivator? The thought struck them like lightning. Their hearts sank. But when the mysterious figure saw the large-headed eccentric escape beyond immediate reach, it gave a cold chuckle and abandoned pursuit. Instead, it slowly turned its gaze toward the cultivators outside the spell formation. That gaze, sharp and frigid as a blade drawn across bone, it swept over them, and an invisible pressure pressed down upon their souls. The weaker cultivators staggered, swaying, as if struck, barely managing to keep their footing. Hanli inwardly cursed. Blue light flashed within his eyes as he hurriedly activated the bright sight spirit eyes to shield himself. Even so, when that gaze brushed past him, it felt as though he had plunged into an abyss of ice. His complexion paled. You are. The feminine voice suddenly yelped in astonishment. The gaze locked onto Hanli, disbelief flickering within jade-colored pupils. At that very moment, his storage pouch trembled. A streak of white light shot forth of its own accord, circling once in the air before landing before him. Silver light flashed. The silver fox transformed into a breathtaking young woman clad in flowing white robes. It truly is you. The mysterious figure's body trembled. Slowly he lifted his head. His face was revealed. Xianxia, An uproar erupted among the cultivators. Aside from the unnatural jade hue of his eyes, his features remained unchanged. He stared at Silvermoon with an unreadable, complicated expression. The others were utterly at a loss. With their experience, they immediately understood. Hua Tianqi had been possessed. But by whom? That was the true mystery. Meanwhile, the large-headed eccentric seized the opportunity to retreat further. He swallowed a medicinal pill and slapped talismans onto his severed arm. In a burst of white light, flesh regrew, restoring the limb as if it had never been lost. Hanli narrowed his eyes. Thoughts raced through his mind. The being possessing Hua Tianqi had most likely summoned Silvermoon here. But what relationship bound them? Friend or foe? The shock on Hua Tianqi's face gradually faded. He spoke calmly, though the voice remained that of a young woman. Xueling, you should have discovered this place long ago. I did not expect you to arrive only now. Why has your aura weakened so greatly? And why do you inhabit the body of a four-pupiled fox? Do you not consider this an insult to our noble status as heavenly Silvermoon wolves? Silvermoon brushed stray strands of hair from her face. She remained silent for a long while before speaking uncertainly. Are you Ling Long? A strange expression crossed the possessed man's face. He studied her for a moment, then let out a soft musical laugh. I never imagined that the greatest beauty of our race, the beloved concubine of divine wolf Tian Kui, would lose her. Memories. His smile curved, faintly mocking. I should have expected it. When sacred ancestor Yuan Cha's incarnation forced your soul from our shared body, it was inevitable that you would not remain whole. He tilted his head slightly. My dear little sister, I am not Ling Long. I am Long Meng. The sweet, enchanting voice emerging from a male body created a deeply unsettling dissonance. Hanli's frown deepened. A faint premonition stirred within him. This would not end well. Though he did not understand their history, he clearly sensed a trace of malicious amusement in Long Meng's tone. Silvermoon's brows furrowed. She stared at Long Meng, her expression shifting as fragments of memory flickered behind her eyes. Your words have stirred something. The memories are faint, but if I am correct, then we are one and the same. Long Meng's voice turned glacial. So you remember? In truth, we were once a single being, Ling Long. When she faced her fifth millennial tribulation, she cultivated the supreme secret technique of the Silvermoon wolf clan. But midway she faltered. Her jade eyes gleamed coldly. Her soul split in two. And thus you and I were born. Your primal soul was stronger. You suppressed me, cast me into eternal slumber, and ruled as the master. A faint smile curved her lips, sharp as a blade. But now how the tides have turned. Your primal soul is pitifully weak. At last, I can eradicate you. Silvermoon stiffened. Yet her expression soon steadied. Though my memories are incomplete, I recall the blood-bite soul imprint. Her voice was calm. You cannot kill me. If I perish, you will have nowhere to anchor your existence. Long Meng's expression darkened. Green light erupted violently from her jade eyes. Silvermoon cried out, her body trembling as an invisible force slammed into her. Hanli did not hesitate. His hand slashed through the air. A massive azure hand materialized behind Silvermoon, yanking her out of the assault's grasp. Long Meng started in surprise. Then fury flared in her gaze. She glared at Han Li. Not good. Han Li's expression changed. He swiftly raised his hand, summoning the enlarged Tailstar Essence shield before him. A deafening explosion erupted. The shield's surface flashed wildly. Several inch-deep indentations caved into it as the force battered its structure. Han Li felt cold sweat trickle down his back. Around them, the other cultivators stood as if drenched beneath a waterfall of revelations. Since Hua Tianqi had appeared, the silver-winged night fiend and the lion hawk had been stunned into silence. But upon hearing the names mentioned, divine wolf Tian Kui's sacred ancestor Yuan Cha, their faces drained of blood. After exchanging a glance, they began stealthily retreating toward the exit. Long Meng noticed her strike had failed. A flicker of surprise passed through her eyes. But when she glanced between Han Li and Silvermoon, understanding dawned and a slow smile bloomed. Xueling, her voice turned syrup-sweet. Your scent lingers heavily upon him, and you emerged from his spirit beast pouch. Her eyes curved with amusement. Could it be? You have become his spirit beast. And if I have, Silvermoon replied coldly. A shadow crossed her face. Long Meng burst into sweet laughter, beautiful yet laced with venom. If that is so, then I must congratulate this man. She tilted her head, eyes gleaming. Even the three emperors of the spirit realm would not dare dream of claiming the beloved concubine of Demon King Tian, Kuei as their spirit beast.